Hello, everybody, and welcome to the United Stand. It's good to be back. It's good to be doing a 2 p.m. show, and I've missed everyone in the live chat. And yeah, it's good to get speaking about Manchester United transfers. We've got the pre-season tour, and we've got some interesting things to speak about this afternoon. We've got Memphis Depay, possible return to Manchester United, which I've seen a lot of you in the comments before I went live there discussing it. Some people are really on board with this idea. Some people are massively against this idea. Some people are on the fence. So we'll get into that and get all of your opinions in as well and have a chat about would Memphis Depay be a good addition to this Manchester United squad under Erik ten Hag, and also more stuff about Ronaldo wanting to leave, him wanting to get out of the club, willing to cut his wage down to 30%. So we'll get into that as well, and we'll have a big debate on whether Ronaldo should be in Manchester United's team next year or whether it's just best to cut ties now, get a bit of money for him and start a clean slate with a fresh squad and a young team for Erik ten Hag to work with. We know Ronaldo isn't exactly one for the future, but he's one of the best strikers in the world. So it's one of them things, what do you want to do? But getting into the news coming out this afternoon is coming out about Memphis Depay, a name that we all know and a name that he always comes back round from Manchester United. I always see his name linked to Manchester United, whether he was at the club when he was under Louis van Gaal, whether it's the seasons after a possible return for Depay, has always kind of been in the air. And it's coming out from Gerard Romero that Memphis Depay returning to Manchester United has always been of interest. And that is coming out from Gerard Romero that he's always been of interest. It feels like this is getting picked up maybe by Ten Hag and the fact that he is an option there for the forward line with Ronaldo leaving. We've seen maybe a slight bit of interest in Tony. We've seen interest definitely in Anthony. And now Depay's coming onto the scene. We definitely are looking at a forward line option, potentially if Ronaldo leaves, potentially even if Ronaldo does stay. We need depth in the squad. So it's interesting that Depay is being brought into the conversation. Dutch, we know that Ten Hag likes Dutch players, so maybe Ten Hag is the one pushing it. And also, we've seen as well that also 2 Premier League clubs, according to Gerard Romero, have already kind of put in a bid under 20 million for Memphis Depay to Barcelona. So it's interesting that 2 Premier League clubs are already kind of in the race for him. But Memphis Depay, for me personally, let's get into the positives and the negatives of this. For me, I think I would rather go for an Anthony or a Tony. That is my personal opinion. I've seen the poll in the chat and a lot of people are voting for Memphis Depay over Tony. I just think Memphis Depay, 28, he's had his time at United. It didn't work out. He is not the same player as he was then. He's massively improved. He's massively matured. And I think he's a very good player. But would the pressure of the Premier League get to him again? He wouldn't be starting, personally, for me. I don't think he'd be starting in the starting 11. He is a good squad depth player. Would he want to be a squad depth player? But a very, very good thing about this signing is the money. You will probably get him for around 20 million, maybe just under. Barcelona are probably desperate to sell and get wages off the books as well. So he would be a cheap signing. And for that money, is he worth it? You've got to think about it. It's like Dan James was a cheap signing. We ended up selling him for even more, even though he wasn't a very good player. So is it worth taking a punt, taking a risk for that amount of money? He is a good player. I've seen him in pre-season for Barcelona. He looked very good, but is his time over at Manchester United? Personally, I'd rather go for someone new, someone fresh. I think Ivan Toney, despite comments, this is my personal opinion, I think he would be a good option. I'm not saying he has to be Ronaldo's replacement, but he would be a good option off the bench. He would be a good squad player. And I think he would be a player that could play up front for Manchester United. His link-up play is great. I think his goal-scoring ability is great. And I think in a team where it's slightly more creative than Brentford, he would do really well. Same goes to Anthony, a young player that is willing to take the next step up, has worked under Erik ten Hag already, has got massive potential there. I feel like these signings would make more logical sense than going back to a Depay, who is, for me, a risk and would get thrown under the bus if he didn't start off on a great foot once again. Like if Memphis Depay came into the team and didn't get the numbers and wasn't playing well straight away, media would be on his back and so would the fan base. And that can lead to a very toxic environment. So there's positives and negatives around it. But if you think about it, if Ronaldo leaves, very good backup player to Martial down the middle and can play across the front three. People playing across the front three is something that Erik ten Hag clearly definitely wants. He wants depth in them areas. And I think he could definitely bring that. So get in the comments down below what you think of Memphis Depay. Would it be a good addition for Manchester United? would he be a good enough backup if Ronaldo left? Would you be happy with Depay, Sancho, Rashford, Martial, and Elanga as like the forward players? Would that be good enough for Manchester United going into next season? We've seen Martial has been on fire in pre-season. I think he looks like, for me personally, we'll get into Ronaldo stuff later, but he would be starting for me at the Brighton game. I think he deserves to start off his performances. Could you just bring in someone like a Depay and get away with it next season? But then again, when I look at all of the forward lines for the opposing teams, they all look very, very, very good. And is ours really coming up to scratch with that? You've got to think about quality and if we've got enough depth there. And I'm not sure if it would be with just adding Depay to the mix. Don't think it's a good option. He's a great player under a proper coach. See, in the comments, there's a lot of opposing opinions here and a lot of opposing thoughts on what Depay would bring. And he's 28, exactly. Jesse Zoombelt, he is 28. You don't always have to look at a player's age, but when you're bringing someone in, I would rather bring someone in a little bit younger that Erik ten Hag can develop on this project. Someone like Antony. He's going to cost a lot more money. And that's where it comes down to Manchester United. It is all about money. If they can snap Depay up and make a fan base happy with 20 million rather than going spending 60 on Antony, they're going to do that. And it's 60 minimum for Antony as well. They're going to make that move because it's easier. And if that pleases Erik ten Hag as well, they will be up for that because they want to save money. But if you're looking at it from a football club point of view, Antony, 22, ready to make the next step up, has a lot more potential there. I feel like Depay is at where he's going to be. He's not going to improve from here. He's a good player, but is he good enough to be starting week in, week out in the Premier League? And where we're at now, I'm not sure if he could maybe live up to it. But it would be one of them where you'd have to bring him back to the Premier League to see. So for me, it would be a risky signing. And you know what as well? He's had injuries this year. He's had 3 separate injuries that you've got to take into consideration as well. Do you want a player that's going to be injured a lot of the season? I personally don't. I want to stay away from them type of players. And personally, for me, I would say no to this signing. I prefer to go for an Antony or an Ivan Toney. That is my personal opinion with the players that we've already got with Rashford, Martial and Sancho. But it's all about opinion. And I know a lot of people would take Depay back as well. Jones Osafo says we can get both. Antony is different from Depay. They are very different. They are different players. But to me, I don't think we're going to spend that much money. We're going to buy one forward player if Ronaldo leaves, I think. If Ronaldo stays, I doubt we'll buy any. This is just how I see Manchester United operating in the market. But if Ronaldo leaves, we'll probably buy one. And of course, it would be ideal for us to get 2 in. It would be ideal for us to get 3 in, but that's not going to happen with Manchester United's budget. It's like when you come back. It's like when you go back to the midfield with De Jong, you would want to bring more midfielders in, but Manchester United aren't going to do that. So you've got to kind of pick one at this point. And Felix Gibila says, we want Antony best, so none of the above. Everyone does want Antony, and I want Antony, but can we afford to go into next season with just Martial, Sancho, and Rashford? We can't. We need to buy someone else. We need to have backup there. We need to have options. So if you can't get Antony, you're going to have to look at alternatives. And Depay is clearly one of those alternatives. Beth, I feel like he will be in the medical department for a while. That's what I mean. We don't want someone, again, that's going to be on the medical table and isn't going to be playing in the squad and isn't even going to be available anyway. It's all well and good being like, it's under 20 million. Brilliant. We've got a forward in for a good amount of money. We can spend money elsewhere. But if he's not going to be playing week in, week out, and he's not going to be there available, then it doesn't make sense to make that move. I'd rather just spend the money and get someone in that's going to be available and willing to work continually throughout the season and for seasons above as well. And that's why I would rather spend more money on an Antony, because I feel like it would work out better in the long run. And do you know what as well? Speaking about the price tag for Memphis Depay, I was thinking this before, do we really want to do business with Barcelona after what's happening with the De Jong saga? Because Barcelona are taking us for a fool. They're taking us for a ride. They're stringing us along. It's like, I've never seen, I've seen Manchester United be embarrassed in a transfer market before. But if this De Jong deal doesn't end up happening, that is one of the most embarrassing things that Manchester United could have gone through in a transfer market. It has been embarrassing for us fans. It's been hard to continually hear the news stories coming out every day. But the reason why according to the news, that we're not getting De Jong yet is because Barcelona haven't paid out his wages, £17 million in wages. You pay that money for Depay, on just under 20 million, they can take that money and potentially pay De Jong's wages. He moves to Manchester United. That's what would happen in an ideal world. Potentially what else happens is we get Depay, they've got wages off the books, and it's like De Jong somehow ends up staying or goes to Chelsea. I mean, it can't all work out in an ideal world. But if Barcelona need money to pay De Jong's wages, that could be a potential outlet for them to get that money. Seb Watson, with a super chat, we are in the bin, panic buy season has started. This is what I agree with. I think at this point in the season, we should have all of our players in, working in pre-season, working with Erik ten Hag, and we should have our team ready to go for the Brighton game. That isn't happening. Realistically, I was talking about this before we went live. We have got one first team player that's going to probably start in the Brighton game, potentially, even though he's not been in pre-season with the rest of the squad. So that is even a doubt. And for me, I think the only player that will start that we've signed is Martinez. And the reason I think that is the money we paid for him. He's been playing Maguire on the right. He's probably just going to slot in there on the left-hand side centre-back. He's playing Tellez left-sided centre-back with a left foot. He obviously likes left-footed centre-backs to play on the left side. So I think Martinez will slot in. But looking at that team from last year, is that team, even though it's been doing well in pre-season, and I don't take anything away from that, I think Ten Hag has done very, very well to get this team working the way it has in pre-season. But again, rewind to the fact it is only pre-season. So we know what these players' mentalities can be like going into the start of the season. We know if we have one bad result, potentially it could go in a decline. We need players with a great mentality coming into that first team. We need better technical players coming into that first team. We've known this throughout last season. Yet it's not happened. We've got one signing to come into the first team. Eriksen potentially might do, but personally for me, I don't see him starting. So it's like at this point in the season where we're just waiting around for De Jong, which we could have played 3 or 4 games by the time De Jong even gets in, if we end up getting him. I think we've just completely structured this transfer window the wrong way. And now we are going into panic mode by, what if Ronaldo leaves? Oh, Depay's an option. We can't afford Anthony. Oh, but because of the De Jong deal, it's just not structured payments and they've not structured where exactly they're going to go and what exact players they're going to be getting in, which is why I feel like we are in this position and it's unfortunate. Thankfully, we've got a great manager that has been doing very well with this squad anyway, but he should have, for me, I think he should have at least 2 more first team players in there right now, if not 3, especially for his first season. So I agree, it is panic buy mode, and we basically are at the start of the season, which isn't good enough. Another super chat in saying Depay over Tony any day. Depay will only cost 15 to 20 mil, so get him with Anthony. The board has spent peanuts. Exactly, the board has not spent enough money, but I just don't see them buying Depay and Anthony. I don't even see us buying Anthony because I think they feel like the money Ajax is asking is too much money. Because I think Ajax want around 80 million euros for Anthony. They're not going to pay that. The board aren't going to pay that unless Ajax lower the fee. So it is getting to that point in the season where I wouldn't be surprised if you see the panic buy for Depay, 20 million, rather than going for the actual option, which should be Anthony, just because they want to save money. Duncan, £2, only worth it if it's the only way we get Frankie de Jong. This is the thing, like the De Jong... Depay and De Jong, they shouldn't be related, but now they're going to be related because it's both Barcelona. Barcelona are just taking us for a ride at this point in time. And I mean, if Erik ten Hag wants Depay, we should go and get Depay because I'm all behind on what the manager wants. I mean, the report from Andy Mittens that came out early this morning about Erik ten Hag not having a plan B. De Jong is vital to his plans. He's prepared to wait. But what if we don't get him? What if we don't get him? Is Fred and McTominay good enough? No, there has to be a plan B. So I'm all about what the manager wants. But I feel like Anthony was what the manager wants. And they've said to him, look, with De Jong, it's too much money. If you get De Jong, you need to start looking at other options. And this is where players like Depay have come out of the woodwork. And that's what we're starting to see. But, I mean, a lot of you in the comments both kind of there's a lot of people saying they want Depay, a lot of people saying they don't. So it's one of them. It's up to Erik ten Hag. It's up to the fans. Personally, for me, too injury prone, too late in his career. Personally, because he's already been at Manchester United, that ship for me has already sailed. I don't want to go backwards in time, and I'd rather get someone in that's got more potential and is younger and can be part of the rebuild for longer, such as an Anthony. So that's my personal opinion. But remember to get your comments in down below as well, guys. And the reason why we're in for Depay, swiftly moving on, a smooth transition, is because Ronaldo potentially leaving. Ronaldo potentially leaving has been a topic for quite a while surrounding Manchester United, and there's just more and more reports coming about around Ronaldo. And the reason this has been is even though no clubs are going in for Ronaldo from what it seems from the news, he still massively wants out. And there's reports coming in from Jacobs Ben, which is Ben Jacobs on Twitter, saying George Mendes is letting clubs know that Cristiano Ronaldo is willing to take a pay cut, potentially as high as 30%. No club is currently close to signing Cristiano Ronaldo, thus not challenging MUFC's stance that he's not for sale, but Erik ten Hag remains hopeful of having clear the air chats with Cristiano Ronaldo. This is, for me, a problem. I have been Team Ronaldo since the start of these rumours came out. I was like, he clearly just wants to kick the board into making action. I understand if I was him and I've just come off the back of that horrendous season and I'd been player of the year and I'd been one of the greatest players of the greatest, if not the greatest player of this generation, and Manchester United were going into this season again with lack of ambition after bringing you here, probably selling the story of winning stuff, and again going into the transfer window spending no money, I'd be also annoyed. I would be frustrated, and I thought maybe he's just trying to kick Manchester United into spending some money and get some transfers over the line. But the more this story's continued, the more it's gone on. For me, it's like now, he's either playing for us next year or he's not, and this decision needs to be made urgently. If he really, really doesn't want to be here and he really, really wants to go, I'd let him go. I would take some money for him now, even though I think he's one of the best goal scorers in the world, even though he's one of my favourite players to have ever played for Manchester United. If he doesn't want to be here, there's no point forcing him to be here against his will. Because if that happens, you get potentially a dressing room problems again. You get negative feels around the club. It's Erik ten Hag is stuck in two minds whether to play Cristiano Ronaldo or whether to go for players that are actually going to be here in the future and people who want to play for the club. I just think, and Ronaldo is a top professional, so if he does end up staying, I think he will give his all, and I think he won't cause any problems. People thinking he's going to cause problems in the dressing room, I doubt that would happen. But at the moment, he's still not reported to pre-season. We still don't know what's going on. And it's like, it's putting our transfers in jeopardy because I feel like Manchester United don't want to go and buy a forward or potentially a forward across the front three because they don't know if Ronaldo's staying. If Ronaldo stays, potentially they won't do that. So we're not making moves in the transfer market because of it. And also, you've got players like Martial, and I put this to the chat because I had a debate about this with someone yesterday, and you guys might think I'm mad or you might completely agree with me, and this is the beauty of the chat. You get to see people's opinions. But I've said if Martial carries out the form that he's had in pre-season so far, so he's scored in every game, his playmaking has been great, he's been pressing from the front, he's been a great player, especially in the last game, for me, man of the match. And he's working well with Rashford and Sancho as well. Like the best is coming out in the front three. If he continues to play like that across the next few games, at the start of the season, whether Ronaldo's there or not, Martial for me would be starting up front based on principle of the fact he's worked hard in pre-season to get to that position. Because if it gets to pre-season and you just start Ronaldo up front because he's Ronaldo, that sends precedent to the rest of the team and to Martial. There's no point you working hard or being at your best to try and get into this team because even if you do, Ronaldo's still going to start in front of you. You've not really got a chance. And that's a problem because it doesn't give players initiative. It doesn't give them motivation. That's just my personal opinion. I was speaking to someone who said, it's Ronaldo, you can't not start him. He's one of the best goal scorers. Ronaldo is one of the best goal scorers, but the facts are he hasn't played any pre-season games. He doesn't want to play for the club right now. And Martial's worked really hard to be at his best. And he's playing very well in this team. So personally for me, I would be starting Martial. That could definitely cause disruption because Ronaldo won't want to be dropped if he is playing. So there's all these factors you've got to take into consideration. Get in the comments down below, if things carried on as they were right now, would it be Martial or Ronaldo starting up front for you if Ronaldo was still at the football club? Same me, I say United going Dutch and Arsenal Brazilian. Let's see who finishes higher. My bet is on the Samba boys. Saying we've not bought any Dutch players yet apart from Malacia. So it's not all completely Dutch. We are linked to them players, but I think we've got a better manager than you. So we'll have to see what goes. We'll have to see what happens in. Your boy Devil Game says I would have taken him back to United. I think that's around Depay. And a lot of people saying can't rely. Well, Jamie Cooling can't rely on Martial. Roy the boy Kino, Ronnie needs to go. It's not all about him. Martial over Ronaldo. Mark was right. Everyone loves Martial now. Julie Nate, sorry Beth, but you can't blame Ronaldo for Martial not working hard. I'm not blaming Ronaldo for that. I'm just saying it doesn't set a good precedence. If a player is working continuously hard, they're scoring goals every game in the striker position, which is a striker supposed to do, and they're also playing well, and yet you still drop him. That for me, it doesn't set the right. If you're working hard and you are playing well in your position, you should keep your place. And that's just my personal opinion on that. Seb Watson, Ronaldo can't come back. They are looking at bad signings, panic buys. Keep Maguire captain. Is the club showing it wants to win anything, any ambition? I think we can't get too ahead of ourselves. If it was up to me, Ronaldo, I would have convinced him to stay. I would have potentially offered him the captain's armband this season to kind of make him happy. Maguire is captain. We can't do anything about that. Erik ten Hag seems to be working very well with these players. We've just got to see what happens when the season actually starts, and then we can form our opinions. But for me, the people that are letting us down right now is the board with transfers. We need more first team players in, and there's nothing more about it. We need more first team players in. And another interesting quote that's come out is George Mendes offered Cristiano Ronaldo to Barcelona prior to them signing Robert Lewandowski. And that is coming from @JacobsBen on Twitter, again, journalist on Twitter. And to me, this is like similar to last year when Ronaldo was close to going to Manchester City and George Mendes was offering Ronaldo to Manchester City. Ronaldo clearly doesn't really care about the loyalties as per se. He was willing to go to Manchester City and potentially even willing to go to Barcelona, who that would have Madrid and Barcelona. It's like, I think he just wants out. I think he wants to go anywhere where he has the capabilities of winning more medals and winning personal accolades for himself, which at this point in his career, I can understand. But for us right now, in the position Manchester United are in, it's about building a team, hopefully winning stuff next year, trying to go for the Europa League and FA Cup, cups that we could potentially get. But also it's about rebuilding a team willing to get Champions League and that's playing well together and looks like it's going to build for the future. Ronaldo wants to win personal accolades and wants to be playing at the highest possible level. So kind of on different pages there. But I think Ronaldo is becoming a problem for us. He wants to leave. He hasn't come back to pre-season. Still don't know when he's going to come back. And it's like, apparently Erik ten Hag is going to host Clear the Air talks, but what is he really going to say? I just see it being quite toxic now, and I hope he wants to stay, and I hope that things can get back on track. But if he really does want to leave, and George Mendes really is offering him out to every club, willing to take 30% pay cut, do we really want someone playing next year that doesn't really want to be there? Personally, I don't. I'd rather just let him go and buy someone else, despite how good he is. If you don't want to be here, I'd rather him not be here. But that's just my personal opinion on it. And Nicholas Kiddleholm says it's crazy that Maguire is over Ronaldo in our club. That's the thing. I think that would have, again, probably something that frustrated him. We've heard the rumours regarding Ronaldo, Maguire. We don't know if there's any truth in it. But if I was Ronaldo and I was going into another season where there was the same captain that led us to the worst possible points tally that we've had in Premier League history, and again, I was kind of looking up to him as my captain. I hope Maguire does great this season. I really do. I hope he does. And so far in pre-season, he's he's not massively impressed me, but I don't think he's been as bad as he was. But again, it is pre-season. But it's frustrating for a player of Ronaldo's presence in the footballing world and of his accolade that he has to do that. So there'll be a lot of things that are frustrating him. Kevin Ho says, really appreciate what you say about working hard. The same can be said about Maguire. He's the captain. He can't be benched even if he plays with his hands. I don't really understand that super chat, but I feel like what you're trying to say is that if people are working hard and are better than you, they should be in the team. If they are playing better than you and they are working hard, they should be in the team. It's like when Maguire was getting picked over the likes of Bailly and even potentially could be Varane. It's like, is he being picked because he's playing better, or is he being picked because he's captain? Players should be being picked because they are the best possible people to step onto that pitch on game day, and they have been playing well consistently, and that's why I said it would be unfair for Martial to drop him. How likely is Depay to Man United? I mean, it's very, very early to say because the rumours have only really just started coming out now, but a lot of places are picking up interest on the fact that Depay returning to Manchester United has been of interest. And this leak kind of coming out, to me, it's like we need someone to play across the front three. Depay is probably rated by Erik ten Hag, playing in the Dutch team. Barcelona are looking to get him off the box, or looking to get him out and looking to get some money in for him. It just makes sense to link him to Manchester United. I don't think there's any progress in it whatsoever, but it definitely is a story that could develop. You can see where the links are coming from. 100% agree with you, Beth. Let's go for players who want to be part of the team that's being formed now. I mean, that's the thing. I never thought I'd be saying it because of how much I do rate Ronaldo. But there is a point when it comes in, you've got to think this team needs to be working together with the manager. There needs to be like a group dynamic there where everyone's on the same path, everyone's on board, everyone knows the idea, everyone knows the project. And I just feel like if Ronaldo comes back and he's playing and he isn't really on board with the rebuild, he wants to be winning stuff, he doesn't really want to be doing this at this point in his career, it could cause us to go off track, and it could cause issues with the other players. Ronaldo could be unhappy if he's not playing it all the time. I think Ten Hag won't kind of buy into that thing where Maguire has to start, Ronaldo has to start. I think he will just start who he wants to play, and who I think he is in the position where he is the manager. I don't think he'll kind of be influenced by anyone's name or presence. So it could cause issues. The best solution for me would be Erik ten Hag and Ronaldo have this chat. If Ronaldo wants to stay and he's willing to be 100% on board with the project, of course, I would be willing to have one of the best goal scorers in the team. He guarantees you probably 20 goals next season in that Ten Hag team if he stays. You would want that. But if he's the slightest bit not on board and doesn't want to play, and he's still trying to get moves away and isn't wanting to report back to pre-season, is causing issues, I would be like, it didn't work out, but we've got to let him go and get someone else in who wants to play for us. That is just my personal opinion, but I know a lot of people massively want Ronaldo to stay because of just who he is and what he stands for at the club. Kill Robinson TV, so glad you fully understand the Ronaldo dilemma. Well, that's the thing. I love Ronaldo. He's one of my favourite players, but I'm not going to be blinded by that. Like, you've got to think of what's best for the club. And it's mad to think that potentially not having one of the best goal scorers of all time would benefit the club, but it's a lot about attitude and mindset. And if his mindset isn't with United and he's not 100% focused on Manchester United and wanting to be there, there's no point, because you won't get the best Ronaldo, and it could affect the rest of the team's morale as well. And you don't want that thing in the dressing room where, like, you want everyone to feel a part of it. You don't want it to just be Ronaldo and then everybody else at the bottom as well. But yeah, thank you everyone for kind of getting involved with the chat. It's really missed talking to you guys and hearing what you guys had to say. And it's been good to have this chat and talk about pre-season, talk about what's going to happen in the following season, and talk about the forward line for Manchester United. It's good to get a break from De Jong, and it's good to talk about a different position. And I think Memphis Depay to Manchester United could be something that heats up. But for now, I just think it's obvious that we need a forward player, and Ten Hag is really clearly liking the thought of having a forward player in that can play across all three positions. And I can see that with the way that the front three have been playing in pre-season, it's looking good. And my thoughts on pre-season is it is only pre-season, but it's a hell of a lot better than what we've seen over the last year. And I'm going to applaud that. And I'm going to say Erik ten Hag has done a very good job to change the style of play that quickly, because the style of play has massively changed. You can see it all over the pitch. And hopefully that continues. And we do get some more signings in, because that is the main point here. Signings are a must. One first team player coming to start the season is not good enough. We need first team signings in. Get in the comments down below. Ivan Toney, Memphis Depay, Anthony from Ajax. Who would you want? Do you want Ronaldo to stay? Should Martial be starting up front? There's a lot to discuss, but thank you everyone for getting your comments in the chat below, and we'll see you at the 8 p.m. show. Make sure you like and subscribe, and we'll see you on